Listen, I pray that you enjoy that wonderful worship experience. Listen, we're excited about what God is doing. Hopefully those words have become life-changing words to you. Now that you've heard the word, it's time for us to go out and live the word. So, welcome to what we believe to be the greatest worship experience on this side of heaven. Aren't you excited that you made it into 2023? So are we. We have so many great things planned for this year that you definitely want to be a part of. So listen, stay connected to the church, stay connected to our website and all of our social media platforms, because we want to continue to strengthen you as you love and live God and people. There's so many great things in store for you this year. So make sure you stay connected, make sure you stay involved, and get ready for what we know is going to be a life-changing worship experience. All right, come on, let's go inside and see what's about to happen.
Well, good evening, everyone. Oh, y'all sound a little low now. Good evening, everyone. All right, I know it's day 3, but what a powerful 2 nights it has been for us. First of all, I want to take a moment just to thank Dr. Thompson again, thank Oak Grove. I tell you what, y'all are a true family who know how to make someone feel like royalty as soon as they get the door. And I want to thank each and every one of you for how you have treated me these past 2 days. Now, this is our last session, and I'm saying last session for a reason. I told you I had a purpose for how I was doing these sessions. Day 1 was all about your mindset. What is the entrepreneur's mindset? Day 2, we talked about how to operate your business. What was a business? What are the different types of businesses? What do your business need to be successful? Well, day 3, we're going to talk about passing the baton. So in a relay race, you know there are multiple people, and at each point of the cycle of the race, someone has to pass the baton. Someone has to pass the responsibility to finish the race. It's the same thing inside your business. There's going to come a point in your business when you need to pass the baton. Will y'all join me in prayer before we get started? Father God, Lord, both Alpha and Omega, beginning and end, thank you for this day. Thank you for your mercy and for your grace. Forgive us now, Lord, for any transgressions against you, known and unknown. Now, Lord, as we close out this week's lecture, let us never close our heart towards you. Guide us, lead us, move us, change us, protect us, and provide for us. But, Lord, if you don't do anything else, you have done enough. I pray that each and every one of us understand that tonight, Lord, you walk with us. You prepare us for what's to come next. And Lord God, that we understand that there will be a point in life where we have to pass the responsibility to somebody else. So Father, I ask for understanding. I ask for wisdom. Lord, we love you and we thank you. And it's in your son, Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen. So let's discuss this thing called passing the baton. What does it mean? Well, if we go to the Bible, because that's one thing I promise you all over these 3 days, that everything I talk about will come directly from the Bible. So if we look in Numbers chapter 8, verses 23 through 27, it reads as this. The Lord spoke to Moses in regards to the Levites. From 25 years old or more, a man enters the service and the work at the tent of meetings. But at 50 years old, he is to retire from his service in the work and no longer serve. He may assist his brothers to fulfill the responsibilities at the tent of meetings, but he must not do the work. This is how you want to deal with the Levites regarding their duties. Now, when you read that, you say, wait a minute, 50 years old, we living a little longer. You might want to work a little longer. We're not saying that it's time just to run away into the sunset and not do things. What it's telling us is that we need to have a mindset to understand that there's going to come a time where you need to take a backseat role. There's going to come a time when you switch over from being the leader to the advisor. I think corporate America got one thing right. They got board of directors. And that's just people who simply look at the overall picture of what's going on in the corporation and make make decisions based on what's best for the overall vision of the company. I think it's the same thing when we talk about our businesses. Who's at your table? When we talk about who's at your table, you need to have those advisors around your table. So I'm deeply privileged to talk about it today because most times in our culture, we don't talk about succession, which is simply giving someone else the reins. We don't talk about what's next after passing or going on to be with the Lord. We don't want to talk about those things. We absolutely avoid talking about death and what's after death, but we're going to talk about it tonight. So this topic has significance in our faith and in our scriptures. It guides us towards wisdom and prudent stewardship. That's the word I want to focus on, stewardship. What is this word stewardship? Well, it's simple. If you have the right mindset, we own nothing. If you understand the principle that we own nothing, not even our own lives, stewardship is easy for you to understand. God gave us a responsibility to take care of his resources, including yourself. That could be taking care of your health, that could be taking care of your family members, that could be taking care of the house that he gave you, no matter what size, that could be taking care of the neighbor, that could be taking care of the dog, the cat, or any kind of resource. But what we're talking about tonight is taking care of your resources within your business. You have to be a good steward of your business because there's a saying that anything you mismanage, you lose. That's deep. Anything you mismanage, you lose. So if you mismanage your resources in your business won't grow. That's stewardship. You need to understand that we have a kingdom responsibility to make sure that we take care of any resources that God put inside of our domain. It's simple. If God gave it to you, he meant for you to do something good with it to advance his kingdom. Now my grandma calling y'all. She's on the block this. Let me be a good steward in this. So let's talk about it. There are steps to succession planning, and that's what we're going to talk about. In the book of Proverbs, which is one of my favorite books, chapter 16, verse 3, it says, commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. We talked about this on yesterday, but I thought it was good to put it back into day 3, because now we're talking about the end of our business, or the end of our time as a leader. So I want you to get in the mindset of, hey, we've been inside of our business, we've been working our business, we've been making money, we've been helping others, we've been philanthropy, we've been doing all these things in our business. 10, 15, 20 years have passed. That's where we at right now. I need y'all to have some imagination with me. We are in our business. Our business has been successful. We have done the work that we came to do. What should we do now next? But have you considered what are the plans for your business when you no longer can leave? What are your plans for your business when you no longer can leave? This is where business succession plans come into the conversation. It's all about preserving a legacy. I will admit, my family don't have legacies because we have not had things set in stone. Hey, this is how you do it next. We figure things out as we go, right? We need to change that. We need to build legacies so that the next generation does not have to start over, but they pick up the baton on the third leg and they keep running to finish the race. That's legacy. Also, when you're thinking about doing your succession planning, you need to think about ensuring that your life work continues after you're gone. The Bible tells that your grandson should be blessed by your works. Your work should always carry on. It's not a scary feeling. It shouldn't be a scary feeling to think about death, because you should be in such a position that you know the morals that you put inside your family, you know the business acumen that you put inside your family, you know that the resources that you leave into your family was more than what you did when you got it. That's succession planning. Did I do enough? Did I earn enough? Did I gather enough? Did I save enough that when my time here is done on earth, because guess what? We all know our date is set, we just don't know the date. But did I do enough to make sure there's more resources than I received when I took the baton? That's succession planning. Let's look at it even more. Let's draw back the scripture. In Luke chapter 6, verse 48, a man who builds his house on the rock. Do y'all see how these same fundamentals is coming every day? But we're looking at it from a different perspective. But a man who builds his house on the rock had laid the foundation securely is spoken of. When the flood came, the house was shaken, but it stayed. Without a solid succession plan, your family suffers. Without a solid succession plan, your family suffers. Why is that? Well, there's a thing called government. If you don't have the proper paperwork in place, you have to go through a thing called probate. Or, say for instance, you have a business and you have business partners. If you don't have a partnership agreement, and what happens when one partner is no longer here, guess what happens to your business? Guess what happens to your percentage of the business? It goes to that one partner. Or what happens if you're in a partnership with someone and y'all have a big major disagreement that y'all just cannot reconcile? What does your paperwork say happens? Do you go through mediation? Do you dissolve the business? Or do you just say, hey, we got to work this thing out? You need to have the proper paperwork in place so when things happen, because we know things are going to happen, you have step-by-step process, and this is how we should handle it. So scripture tells us, make sure we have a solid foundation so that whatever comes our way, we can still stand. We must view business succession planning not as a task to be completed, but an ongoing journey. As long as you breathing, your plan can change. As long as you breathing, your plan can change. Say, for instance, you say, hey, I want my first son to take the business when I get done. Well, your first son acting like a knucklehead. Maybe it's the youngest child. Maybe it's the youngest child that's going to be the leader, right? See, the Bible, once again, the Bible has all the answers. It's all stories for everything we face in life. It's in the Bible. Or say, for instance, you said, hey, I don't want none of my children to get the business. I prefer for my partner to continue running the business. That's okay. That might be your mindset in 2023. But 2033 might come and you and that person don't get along no more. You need to make sure you what? You updating your paperwork. You're updating your paperwork. That's big. We'll say, yes, I have all my documents in place. But you ain't look at those documents in 5 or 10 years. Matter of fact, when you pull them from up under that mattress, the words are faded out. Uh-oh, coming out somebody else. You can't even read the words anymore because you don't have updated documents. So when you're gone and your loved ones is looking at the documents, it's up for interpretation. And you know what happens at a funeral. Anybody ever witnessed a funeral where there was no argument? I think my mother's was the first one I ever witnessed that we didn't argue because my mom had everything written out. There was no argument. The whole time, I'm talking about from when she passed all the way up until, well, you know, we do a few days after. Almost to the last day we hung together. No argument. That's called succession planning. We didn't even know she had everything mapped out. Because what? We are afraid to talk about it. You need to have those conversations. Husbands, wives, siblings, friends, cousins. Talk about what are your wishes. When you go to the hospital and you're sick, do you want to get resuscitated or not? These are things you need to talk about. I know it's a hard conversation, but it's needed. Why? Because why would you want your child to have to sit in the hospital and make that decision? When you could have made that decision before he even had to be or she had to be in this situation. Make the decisions you have to make for your life because what did I say yesterday? No one else can control or responsible for your life but you. No one's responsible for your succession plan but you. Let's continue on. Our succession plan has been identified. So we know, hey, we know who we want. In our business, we know who we want to take the business on to the next level. We done got up in the age. We done did what we can do. We don't want to deal with the new generation of kids who disrespectful. We don't want to talk. So we want to pass the reins to our successor. That's what it's called. The person who gets the baton is successor. We're going to pass it on. Before you do that, we need to be careful because Proverbs 22:6 says, we're reminded, train up a child the way he should go. And when you get older, he will not depart. It's the same thing in your business. If you know that there's going to come a time when you have to pass your business to somebody else, let me give you a newsflash. There's going to come a time where you have to pass the reins to somebody else. So we can't question will this time ever come. I'm telling you right now, the time is going to come. So we know that. Who are you going to train? Who are you going to teach compassion to? Who is the person going to take your business and run it the way that you always envisioned for it to run? That's succession planning. But if you just say, hey, I want this person to take my business, but you're not training them, you're almost guaranteeing your business is going to fail because that person hasn't been trained by you. They don't understand how you think. They don't understand what was your vision for the business. They don't understand what was the mission for your business. You may give them a piece of paper with both of those on there, but they don't have your inner thoughts on how you would like to see your business grow, even after you're gone. So make sure that when you figure out who you want to take your business on next, after you pass the baton, even if you're an advisor, if you know that you're going to be around the business, you still got to groom that person to be the business person you want them to be. Because still yet, when you're gone or when you're laid back on the beach and you're just watching your business by the numbers, they're only going to see your business at your business. It's not going to be the new person, the new CEO or the new executive that's taking over your business. It's going to be still your business. So make sure you are training that person on how your business should run, right? Self-explanatory. But this ensures that it leads to your business in the right footsteps. And this is something that I read earlier today, and I hope I say it correctly. Do not be alarmed when you cannot trace God's hands. Do not be alarmed when you cannot trace God's hands. Let me break it down for you. God is the only one omniscient. He's the only one that knows everything, can see everything, and know it before it happens. If you're in your business and we operate it, and you can't understand why this happened, that doesn't mean God ain't working. That just means God didn't give you the ability to understand why he did it. So don't be alarmed. Just understand what the word tells us. He always working for the better of us or for the good of us to make sure we're successful. And whatever works he starts, he finishes. So when you can't trace his hands inside your business, don't be alarmed. Just say yes, Lord, to your will. You got to get in the mindset that you won't be able to trace everything God is doing in your life and in your business. I was coming down the interstate, and I was like, and I just read it. It was funny. I was coming down the interstate, coming over here tonight, and the traffic was backed up. And I was like, Lord, let it drive. Why would you drive? But it was funny because before I came, I took a nap when I was watching the TV show, and I said, well, what if that lady slowing down in front of me stopped me from a major accident, and I would have never been here. I would have never seen God's hand working in it. But I knew he's working. I know he's working for my good. So make sure you understand that. Are you hearing what I'm, but are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Okay, I just want to make sure you listen because this next one about to hurt you. Ephesians 4:25. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor. Speak the truth with your neighbor. When you're inside your business, our generation is looking for a word called authenticity. You can't fake us out anymore. We research stuff. We look up stuff. We investigate. We want to know the why behind whatever the decision was. You have to be true to who you are and be authentic. Transparency will foster trust, and trust ensures continuity. Trust ensures that your business will continue. When you get a certain group of people inside your business that trust you to always have their back and trust you to always have their best interests at heart, they'll move walls for you. But you have to be open enough and willing enough and securing who you are to be authentic in who you are. So there's no secrets to me. But with that, this is about to be clear thing. I'm gonna wave one flag. Just because authenticity is a must does not mean everyone in every moment requires or deserves your authenticity. That's a big one. I feel like y'all want me to say it again. Just because authenticity is a must does not mean everyone and every moment requires or deserves your authenticity. You have to be discerning who you let understand all the ins and outs of who you are. It's life. It's people. We are broken people, right? So you have to understand that. You have to understand that there is a risk to being authentic. There's a risk to being open and honest about who you are. People might use it against you, but that's okay. If you use any of my faults against me, I'll say, go talk to my father about it. Because he still loves me. I just told Kanye that last night. I said, Kanye, ain't it amazing how God still chooses you, even when we sinners? Ain't it amazing? So when you're authentic, you allow people inside your bubble, but you also allow people to gain trust in who you are. Now, the Bible speaks of a man of few words. Here we go again. Every opportunity for you to speak does not mean you need to speak. It's self-explanatory. When I'm at Allen University and I'm teaching, if I'm saying a concept and you think you know the concept better, that doesn't mean it's your time to actually speak on the concept. You need to raise your hand first and get a knowledge. It's the same thing in your business. If you are not the specialty in that, say for instance, you're inside your business, you're running your business, you done built the team, we got a 6-floor building, your business is prosperous, you're $1 million company, you got all these different departments. And you the CEO, you the executive, you at the top level. You shouldn't be going to the finance department telling the finance department how to do finance. You're not the specialty in it. Or you can't go to human resources and say, I know the laws of human resources. Diversity, equity, inclusion, I know those laws, so I should tell you how to run it. No, you hired that person for that reason. You have to trust them to do the job in which you hired them. Now, I'm going to get off that because that's my favorite part. I'm going to get off of it. What I'm going to leave you with that is calculate the cost of your words before they come out your mouth. Calculate the cost of your words before they come out your mouth. Whoever came up with that little slogan, sticks and stones may break my bones with words, that's a lie. Words can hurt you way harder than a stick because a stick is temporary. But that word, whatever they speak over you, will stay with you forever if you let it, if you allow it. But that goes back to mindset. Be guarding your mind at all times. But calculate the cost of your words that come out your mouth. Let us not overlook the financial and legal aspect of succession planning. Proverbs 15:22 tells us to seek wise counsel. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. How many advisors does the Bible tell us we should have? Many. I pondered that. I said, why does it say many? Why don't the Bible just say have one advisor or have a advisor? It says many advisors because everybody got different gifts. It all ties in. Everybody has different gifts. I might not be strong in vocabulary, but I'm absolutely strong in numbers and money. You can't touch me when it comes to how money works. I done studied, I done tried it, I'm good at it. But I'm not great at investing in government bonds. See how that works? Somebody else smarter than me in investing in government bonds. So I lean on that person for that. Or I might not be the smartest in communicating, right? But I'm smart at creating an event. I might be the best event planner in the world. We have to learn how to lean on each other. But the Bible tells us to seek wise counsel. And it also tells us to have many advisors. So that advisor could be a sales advisor. Say if your sales hurt inside your company. Find somebody who can be your advisor when it comes to sales and marketing. That could be a retention advisor. You losing a lot of employees. What's going on? You can't figure it out. You scratching your hair out. You at your desk every day, trying to figure out why Susan left and why Sally left right behind Susan. It might not be for you to figure out. It might be for you to say, hey, I need help. I realize that I'm not just me on the ship. I might need to bring somebody else on the ship to help me steer the ship the direction I need to go. Or maybe you need a financial advisor or a tax advisor or a spiritual advisor. There's any area in your life you should have an advisor. Somebody who you look up to. Somebody who you can call. Hey, I'm dealing with this. What you think? Now be careful when you pick your advisor. Your advisor shouldn't be judgmental. You shouldn't have to go to somebody and say, hey, this happened. Oh, you bad for doing that. You shouldn't have. No, your advisor should be someone to say, hey, this happened. This could be what we do to get out the conflict. This could be an option A, B, C, or D. Which one do you think is best for you? And I'm going to support you in that decision. Or your advisor could be like, hey, that's not the right route to go. But that's what you want to do. At least I told you that's not the right route. But they should never be judgmental. Matter of fact, none of us should ever be judgmental because who are we to judge? That's what the Bible tells us. Now, when it comes to professional advice, you need professional advice. There are tax attorneys. There's lawyers. There's a reason why these people have these titles and go to school for different things. I could never, ever, ever take care of children full time for a job. My patience too short. But my sister had a heart of gold for kids. So maybe I help her start the business of babysitting. I open up a daycare for her and get all the paperwork right, because that's what I'm great at. And she run it. And we both win. Right? That's professional advice. Make sure you get professional. I'm about to say something. Go get counseling. It's okay to have a counselor. It's okay to go get help when it comes to mental health. It's okay to go get help when it comes to relationship help. It's okay to talk to someone. That's what it's there for. I kind of like going to counseling because they don't know me from a can of paint and I can just release and it never come back up. That's a benefit for me. And thank God for the military because they pay for it. So it's a benefit, but go get those services. It's there and it's available. It may be uncomfortable for you to consider this, but a comprehensive succession plan must also include estate planning. If you don't know what estate planning is, what do you want to happen with your stuff when you die? Who gets the house? Who gets the car? The red one and the blue one and the purple and the green? Who gets clothes? Because we fuss about the simplest stuff because everybody's grieving and just looking for somebody to lash out at. But if you have your estate plan together, there's nothing for you to argue. I mean, you can argue about my outfit a little bit of yours at the field. But that's about, you can't argue about something I had control over before I left this earth. So make sure you have the uncomfortable conversations around your succession plan, especially in your business when it comes to estate planning. Because when you own a business, there's assets inside your business. It could be as simple as all these chairs inside this room you own. Believe it or not, somebody argue, I deserve those chairs more than you. Somebody gonna argue, unless you have it in black and white. Or once again, if you have a partner and you say, hey, y'all had a conversation, y'all went out to get some coffee, y'all had a conversation. Hey, if one of us die, I think you should allow my son or my daughter to come in and take up my 50% of the business. It was just the conversation. But when you pass away, you told your child that was a conversation. But when you pass away, your partner say, I don't remember that conversation. I'm 100% owner now. All money comes, all roads lead to me. What can you do? What can your child do if you don't have it in black and white? Absolutely nothing. They have to watch the business that you work so hard for. You toil, you sweat, you was up early in the morning and stayed up late at night to build in somebody else's hands and somebody else reap the reward from it. That's why it's so important to have professionals look over your paperwork. Yes, ma'am.
Do you teach the different types of businesses?
Absolutely. That's another class that I already asked Dr. Thompson, can we have? To go a deeper dive in the types of businesses and how to set them up properly. Because a lot of times we open businesses, but we don't set them up properly. We don't get a business license if the county in which you exist in says you need a business license. Or you don't pay quarterly taxes when the county you live in says, hey, you're supposed to pay quarterly taxes. Or the government say because of the industry in which your business is, you're supposed to pay quarterly instead of yearly taxes. Like if I ask a question right now, everybody here probably file taxes. How often do you talk to your tax person? Once a year. Once a year, right? Once a year. However, how can they plan for you if they only talk to you once a year? They can't. I don't know what happened. In your business, you don't need a tax preparer. That's what that is. Once a year, you bring all your paperwork. Here you go. Give me the best refund you possibly can get. You will never get the best refund you possibly get because they got 100 other people that they're doing the same thing for. You need someone who is specifically working in your favor or in your good. Hey, let's have meetings every 3 to 4 months. Tell me what happened in your business. Did you get a loss? Did you have a loss a month for? Or you didn't have a loss? Did you have an increase? Well, you had a big increase. Your sales went way up. Why don't you think about investing in some real estate? Because if you don't, you'll have a $10,000 tax liability at the end of the year. But if you put that $10,000 in a piece of real estate, you have a zero liability because now you don't have the $10,000 in the asset with your business on. So if your tax person is not doing it, it's time to reconsider. Especially when you're talking about business. You should have somebody who's your tax person that you have either quarterly or every other month meetings with. Because they're going to dictate at the end of the year what your taxes look like. And the good news about it is they should know every month what your tax liability is. They should be able to tell you. You should think about investing in a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. And they should tell you the difference. One is pre-tax money, one is post-tax money. They should be able to tell you that, hey, you got a $5,500 limit that you can put in your Roth IRA every year. Max it out. Why is that? Because it's tax deferred. You should have someone in your ear. But if you don't, you're going to take the chance with it once a year. I talk to you once a year. And I take care of $500 or whatever they charge you to do your taxes. and I go on about my business. That's not how it works. You need to make sure you have the right advisors in your ear. Now let's keep moving. How do we know this? How do we do this? What is the plan? Well, Ecclesiastes 7:2 reminds us, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind, that the living will lay it to heart. All it says that sooner or later, we are going. Sooner or later, we're going. You're going to visit me or I'm going to visit you. It's okay. I just pray that when my time comes, everybody who come visit me say I had the best heart ever and I help anybody I came in contact with. That's it. And I did the right things towards my family. And when I leave, my wife and son don't have nothing to worry about because I had enough life insurance to cover anything they could think about. Right now, if I ask, I don't want you to raise no hand. You have life insurance and you have an adequate amount of life insurance. When I say adequate amount of life insurance, it covers your assets. It covers your house. It covers your land. It covers your business desires. It covers anything that you own, any loans that you have, any outstanding debt that you have. Your life insurance policy should cover all that. And it doesn't have to be whole life. It could be term. You should have both, whole life and term. But if you can't afford the whole life, get term. It's still going to have a payout. Whole life. The only difference between whole life and term life insurance policy is one has cash back. Whole life bills, you can put money inside the whole life policy. That's what it is. But it costs a lot more. Term means that, hey, you got it for a specific amount of time, 30, 40 years, and it's a set amount. And when you die, your people get $100,000, $200,000, whatever that limit that you set. That's it. But you should have life insurance if you're talking about succession planning. Because why would you want to leave somebody with a debt? Because guess what? Even when you pass away, they're going to want their money. I'm sorry. I wish it was a way that we knew the exact day we could die for the week before we could just set everything up. That's just not how it works. We need to be prepared way in advance. That's why I love talking to people who say, hey, I need help understanding this. And I'm okay, I'm authentic in myself to say, hey, I can help you with this, but I can't help you with that. This is the person. I'm not money greedy about anything. So if I can help you with it, cool, let's do it. But if it's outside my league, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you. I can't go read a Cliff Note or a book to say, hey, I know how to do it now. Because I understand that I'm messing with your legacy. And that's something that I believe our culture need to focus more on is what is the legacy that we're leaving? What is the impact that we're leaving? I want my great-great-great-great-grandchild to always know who I am because they talk about what I've done when I was here on earth. It's sad when somebody dies and you forget about them in 3 months because they didn't leave a legacy worth remembering. And that's the truth that we have to talk about in our business. Does your business operate in a way that when you're gone or when your business shut the door, people feel it? I can remember a few businesses right now when they closed out, I was like, oh my gosh, why did they close down? I remember when there was you had to go rent your movies. You had to go rent them. I'm a little old, I'm 34. I remember you had to go to the little house. We had a house in Springfield, South Carolina. But you had to go into the little house, you had to get your little movie, you had to check it out, you had to rent it out, and you had to bring it back in a few days. When Blockbusters and all them came out, or Netflix and all that came out, all that, what happened to it? It was like overnight. It was like, oh my gosh, you can stream. Well, no longer to go to these stores because I can just get it on my TV. I kind of like that part. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just ask this question. We are understanding you, well, let me put it this way. I'm understanding you as a business. We offer something to the consumer.
Correct.
Well, isn't it a business of your own financial business in the house?
Ooh, is there a let me make sure I got your question right. See, I learned this in counseling. I got to repeat the statement to make sure that I understood what my wife was saying. See how you do that? So what you're saying is there is a business aspect within your own household?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Me and my wife try to meet once a month to talk about the finances of the house. At least once a month, we talk about everything. What's going on, what costs this, what costs that, how the budget looking, did we overspend, did we underspend, can we go to Jamaica, what's going on? We talk about that at least once a month. But outside of that, it's still, you can have a home-owned business. why we don't do that. Everybody should have a home-based business. Why is that? Because whatever space you identify as your office, you get to write off on your taxes. You get to write off your telephone bill. You get to write off some of that electric. You get to write off some of that water because you're operating within your home. So now your home is not just your residence, it's also your business. Now you don't have to put your home address out there on the internet. There's a thing called virtual addresses. You can just go online and get a fake address and it runs all your mail to your house. But they do not have your actual physical address. Or you can get a P.O. box at the post office. So yes, when it comes to your home, you should do home businesses. It could be small, it could be big. I go into the post office and check my mailbox, and I see people coming in with these little crates, and they have them little white bags, and I'm like, what is all that? And I see them of all ages, but they're running a home business. They're making bracelets, they're making necklaces, they make it, believe it or not, they selling weave, not weave, but weave. They selling weave. But they're selling stuff outside their home. So they set up in their garage. They make T-shirts. They make personalized water mug jugs. You can set up anything in your house. You can be a barber in your house. You can be a hairdresser in your house. You can have a daycare in your house. Like I said, well, if I really like kids in my neighborhood, I open up my house and do a daycare and just have all the kids from the neighborhood come to the house. Why not? Why wouldn't parents want that when you don't have to send a long line? You just come around the corner, pick your child up, and go home to the house. That's a business. But I can't do it because me and kids, it's too long. So yes, did I answer the question? I want to make sure I answer the question. Good. So here's what I got to ask. When the last time, actually scratch that, I want to go a different direction. Something telling me to go a different direction. When the last time you heard of somebody having all their business affairs and personal affairs in line?
Say that again.
When is the last time you heard of someone, and think about yourself, that you can say you got your personal and your business affairs in line? Like everything is set out. I got my succession plan, my business is flowing right, my personal life is good, I got a budget, I'm focused on my budget, I got life insurance, I got health insurance, I got car insurance, I got A, B, C, D, F, G insurance, long-term disability insurance, short-term disability insurance. I got money in the bank. I got a savings of at least $1,000 because that's what all the financial literacy gurus say, to have at least a mercy fund of $1,000. I think you should take it up to $2,000 with the way that the fluctuation is going right now. But do you have all those things in place? How many of you know somebody can think of yourself and say, yeah, I got it, I'm good. I'm still working on mine. That's my authenticity. I'm teaching what I got to do myself. And I'm okay with that. Because I know the finish line, the only time I get to the finish line is when I'm laying down cold. Yes.
I thought I was until I talked to somebody today.
Mm.
So now I got to research something else.
Uh-oh. But you're willing to research. That's another component of this thing. No matter how old you get or how smart you think you get, you have to be in a posture to be open to learning. Because when you stop learning, I believe that's when death starts to take its toll. Your mind. When your mind goes down, I just be looking for random stuff to research. I'm a documentary person. I was just looking at President Obama going to the regular jobs and talking to people on Netflix. I could have watched an action film, but for some reason I clicked on the documentary because I know I got to keep my mind stimulated, keep my mind going so that I stay fresh. I'm a young fella. I saw on Facebook that a man that was like 96 was up dancing under the tent. I ain't gonna sing the song because you know what the song was. But if you want to leave, y'all know that song. But he was getting down. I said, I text my wife, I text her the video. I said, you know this is gonna be me when I get older because I be the one dancing. So I said, when I get older, this is gonna be because I always want my mind to be learning something. I want my mind to be fresh. So let's talk about this finally. Succession planning mirrors our own journey of faith. Succession planning mirrors our journey of faith. Why do I say that? Because when you're talking about your succession planning, once you are dead and gone, and yes, I'm using the word dead because I wanted to speak to you. Once you are dead and gone, you have no control of what the next person does. When you pass that baton, it's done. Once you're dead and gone, you have no control on what that person is going to do. Uh-oh. What is that? Come on, not talking to me. I don't hear.
You don't know what they're gonna do with your money.
You don't know what they're going to do with your money. They might go to the MGM in Maryland and blow it in one night and say they had the best time of their life at the casino. Or they may go bingoing every night from that point on and say thank you to whoever each time they go bingo and lose. But you don't know what happens. But guess what? Faith kind of operates the same way. You got to have faith that whatever you need, God will provide. Now, I don't know how. I don't know how he's going to provide it, but you got to have the faith to understand that he's going to provide it in some kind of way. So when you wake up in the morning, you say, Lord, thank you for this day. I ask that you keep me protected. I don't know how that protection going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to get an fender bender to avoid the head-on collision. You don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if it's me losing a lucrative job to make sure that my mindset and my heart stay right, because I might start treating people bad if I do get that amount of money because my maturity wasn't there yet. I don't know how it's going to work out. But all I know is that God's working out for my best. It's the same thing with your business. When you pass it off, you need to understand that you have groomed this person. Go back to what I said. Train them as a child. Train them as a young person in your business. Train them as your protege. That, hey, I am training you the way that this should work. I am training you that when a customer comes to you with a complaint, you don't get mad. You listen to them thoroughly and see if there was fault on your end. And even if it wasn't fault, hey, it's okay. We'll cover it. There's an account called retained earnings. We'll cover the cost. You can have your money back. And we hope that you do business with us again. Yes, sir.
When you say training, and I agree with you on that, but shouldn't you have something in writing as you go along?
Absolutely. Everything should be in writing. Policies and procedures. Uh-oh, we are late with customer service. Policy and procedure. Listen, if you want to stop an argument, put it in black and white. If you want to, it can go. You can put this in any context you want. If you want to stop an argument in the church, put it in bylaw. You can't argue the bylaw. You can change it in 2 years whenever your time is, but you can't argue at that point. In your business, if you want your business to operate a certain way, put in irrevocable trust. Because you can't change an irrevocable trust, which we're going to talk about in the next workshop that Dr. Thompson brings back to do, if it's God's will. Soon, right. So there's ways that you can live past your death date. There are ways that you can live past your death date. And you're like, wait a minute now. Ain't nobody immortal. Kind of. Get you a journal. Hey, son, I'm just writing to you. This happened in my life. This is how I responded to it. It went well or it went wrong. Make sure you don't make that turn. Try this other option. Maybe that'll work out. Or, hey, business, this is how my business always should function. And anytime it's not functioning that way, I want it to dissolve. Because you're not representing what this business started in the beginning. You're not representing Christian values. You're not representing Christian courtesy. So, hey, put it in writing. I started a journal. One day I'm gonna give it to my son. I just be writing. He gonna be mad because sometimes I just be writing. But there's nuggets. When I get a book, I don't get a book to hear and learn every word in a book. I'm gonna learn at least one good thing out that book, and that was enough for me to read the whole book. I think I got over 1,000 books right now, and if I find one good thing in the book that I can highlight and tag, the book was worth the money about it. But you can do the same thing so that when you do pass on, or when you do get too old, or God forbid, when dementia and stuff start coming, your people can come read what your words was. And then that muscle memory might bring it back to you again. You can, nowadays, you don't even have to write. You can get on your phone and do it. You can do a video. You can do video, what's it called? Video diaries, which I just downloaded 2 days ago. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I can just record myself. I'm going to talk about Rome. I'm going to talk about a lot of other stuff too. But you can do that. That's how you live on. Your legacy. When you're talking about banking, when you're talking about finance, your personal finances, how are your personal finances set up? When you set up your trust, right? Because I want all y'all to start thinking about trust. When you set up your trust, you can say, hey, I want this person to get $1,000 every month. That's all they can get. You can have $1 million sitting in there, but he only get $1,000 a month. Why is that? Because if I know my child. I know y'all understand. I know my child. If they get $10,000, they go to Vegas. Because guess what? They know another $10,000 coming on the first. So you can set all that up though, because you understand in your business, you can set it up. Hey, this is how the business should run after I'm gone. Lawyer, sign here. Notary, sign here. You witness me. This is my desires. And guess what? They can't change it. I be looking at this TV show called Succession, honestly, on Netflix. And there's another TV show called Billionaires or something. But they talk about all this stuff. Of course, it's not us. But they go through all the different transitions of business. When the granddaddy gets too old and he passes it to the son messes it up, and then the grandson pick it back up and try to fix it, and then the great-grandson messes it up. It shows you all those transitions. But my thing is, when you see something, do you learn from it? Yeah. It's one thing to get knowledge, remember wisdom, knowing what to do with knowledge that you get, but do you actually do something with it? So if you're saying in my business, right, my succession plan, I want to make sure that whoever takes the baton always give to homeless people every month. That could be a wish of yours. Hey, every month you need to make sure that we give at least 500 meals to homeless people. Write it out. And at any time, and this is how you got to word it, at any time John fails to do this, he loses power and goes to XYZ. You have the power to write those types of things out. There's power in black and white. Whatever it says, you have to do it. If it's signed, make sure you sign it and have a witness. But that's how you deal with succession planning. That's how you deal with succession planning in your personal life. That's how you deal with succession planning in your business. If you want your business to operate the way that you set it up in the beginning, knowing that you was doing what God called you to do with your business and for his kingdom, you have to make sure that the black and white is there for whoever gets your business next to follow. Because if they want their own business, they should have started their own business. But because you agreed to be my successor, you need to follow my principles. You need to do what I say. Now, the question for y'all is, what age is enough to say, hey, it's my time to go be an advisor, and it's my time to sit back and just advise? What is the answer? Everybody got to answer that for themselves. That can be 35, that can be 75, that can be 80. My life goal is to retire by 45. And I'm 34, so I got a little hump I got to work. But that's my job. That's my passion. That's my vision. Why? Because I won't create, but I want to be in a place where I'm financially abundant and successful that I can help others. It would be my wildest dream to end homelessness. It would be my wildest dream to end homelessness. And let me tell you why. Because I look at so many ways that we waste money, government, individuals, groups, companies. Matter of fact, did you know Krispy Kreme throw their donuts out like that?
Yes.
You don't think a donut would be a meal even though it's a bad sweet meal, but you don't think that would be a meal for somebody who ain't had a meal in 4 or 5 days? But these restaurants, I was in Charleston, I did a leadership workshop at the Marriott in Charleston with John Maxwell. And I was talking to the staff because I had to pay for the food. And the food was super expensive. I'm talking about, I was like, why do I got to pay so much per plate for each person who comes to this workshop? But I paid it. But I had a lot of food left over. And I said, hey, can I take the food and give it to the homeless? And they said, no, it's a liability. So oh, yes, ma'am.
I worked for a nonprofit, and years ago, we would get the day-old food from the restaurants in Columbia. We had a women's shelter at the time,
Right.
and a men's shelter. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the food.
Absolutely.
Okay? There's absolutely nothing
If
wrong.
you ain't had a meal in a few days, that would be the best thing you ever take.
Oh, yeah.
But it was funny that the manager, I forgot, hospitality manager at the Marriott, he was like, no, I can't give it to you. I understand your heart. He said, no one has ever asked that had an event at the Marriott, 10 years he's been there, to take the leftover food and give it to the homeless.
Wow.
It was just mind-blowing to me that nobody ever thought to just give the leftover food to someone. And it was good food. I had chicken smothered and all kinds of stuff. Yes, ma'am.
It's a lady, student that was in North Carolina Central that started a business.
Why not?
She's been doing it for a few years now. She is a millionaire.
Why not? Why not? The moment you stop looking for money and start looking to help people, the money comes. It comes. I'm talking out of nowhere. You be like, hey, oh God, what's going on? Because you helping someone. I live off of that. The more I can help somebody else, the more somebody is helping me that I don't know. If I can help you, I'm gonna help you. I give you a jacket on I don't care. I do wear nice clothes, but if you out there in the rain, you can have the jacket. I figure out how to get the matching top another way. But I can't stand to see somebody walking with no shoes on. Here goes some shoes. I got 30 pair of shoes in my closet. Here goes a pair of shoes. You can't fit them, put a little tissue in the inside, like I used to do when I was little, put tissue. Don't be there, you'll be all right. But when it comes to your succession planning, you need to have those type of things in place. Hey, in our business, we always give to the battered women's shelter. We always go every month or every Thanksgiving and have Thanksgiving dinner for the community. We pick a community and we do it. You need to have all that in writing, because if it's not in writing, everybody don't value what you value. And you might say, hey, wait a minute, it's my child. So they definitely got to value what I value. Newsflash. They got it. It's the reason why all of us got separate fingerprints. Nobody got the same fingerprints. We don't value the same thing. Maybe you can tell them, hey, I want you to value homeless people. Okay, I value homeless people. I wave at them. That's my value. That's what somebody's mindset might be. It might not be, hey, stop and go get them a meal. Or I'm eating my meal. Wait a minute. I got 15 nuggets. Let me give you 5. Or here go the rest of my meal. I can turn back around and go get something. Or do you want food? I go get you some food. But you need to have all that in writing. And I'm going to leave y'all with this. It's an African proverb. I found this today. If your vision is for 1 year, plant wheat. If your vision is for a decade, plant trees. And if your vision is for a lifetime, plant people. Decide what you're investing in. Inside your business, decide what you're investing in.
Can you repeat?
I absolutely can, because I loved it when I read it.
That's challenged.
Me. If your vision is for a year, plant wheat. If your vision is for a decade, plant trees. And if your vision is for a lifetime, plant people. I know all y'all can attest to this. The most valuable thing you ever can do is see somebody light up for something you've done for them. And it doesn't have to be money.
That's right.
Some people just need a hug and say, hey, I care for you.
Amen. Yes.
It's simple, but you need to understand what you are investing in and investing in the right thing. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope the session planning was good. I'm here to talk, but I wanted to stop early tonight because I got fussed at to make sure y'all was not in the sanctuary. I was just messing with you. He didn't fuss at me. But I wanted to make sure I stayed some time for questions. You can go ahead and turn it on. Any questions, thoughts, comments about the overall series for the past 3 years? Yes, sir.
Well, let me just stand. I want to stand for this comment.
Take your time now. Take your time. That's the chair. It's the chair fault.
Professor Walter James.
Yes.
And this is my opinion, and not the Walter, this is my opinion. You are a good professor. Your teaching was clear, exact, and you took patience with us. You answered all of my questions. And you answered all the others. And we would be glad for you to come back.
Awesome. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you all. Y'all gonna make me cry because I'm gonna cry now. I think I have.
Listen, I pray that you enjoy that wonderful worship experience. Listen, we're excited about what God is doing. Hopefully those words have become life-changing words to you. Now that you've heard the word, it's time for us to go out and live the word that we heard. Remember, revelation and interpretation without application is abortion. You want to make sure that what you've heard, that you can actually go carry out and live in a dark and chaotic world. We're praying for you. We love for you. Listen, stay connected to our social media platforms. You know we are open every day of the week, praying, crying, serving, loving, doing all those things. And you can come and be a part of what God is doing here at the Oak Grove Baptist Church. Pastor Willie loves you, and we all love you. Keep loving and lifting God and people. God bless.